The first tremors weren't physical but digital. Captain Sarah Chen noticed them while reviewing data feeds at the Mariana Research Station, 8 kilometers beneath the Pacific. Electromagnetic disturbances, growing stronger each day, emanating from somewhere deeper in the trench. As chief scientist of Earth's most advanced underwater facility, she learned to trust her instincts. Something was wrong. "Dr. Reynolds, are you seeing these patterns?" She called out to her chief physicist, who was already frowning at his own display. "Like nothing I've ever encountered," he responded, adjusting his glasses. "The energy signature suggests technology, but at this depth," he trailed off, shaking his head. Before Sarah could respond, emergency alerts flooded every screen in the command center. Above them, the world was changing forever. Massive ships had appeared in orbit, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly metallic sheen. The Meridian Empire had arrived, and humanity's first contact with alien life would not be peaceful. The initial strikes targeted military installations and communication centers. Precision energy weapons carved through Earth's most hardened defenses like paper. Within hours, every major power found themselves cut off and isolated. The United Earth Defense Force, despite years of preparation for hypothetical alien contact, crumbled under the technological superiority of the invaders. In the depths of the ocean, Sarah and her team watched in horror as reports trickled in. But amid the chaos, the strange signals from the trench grew stronger. As if responding to the invasion above, something ancient was stirring in the dark. "Captain," Dr. Reynolds called out, his voice tight with urgency. "The signal pattern, it's changed. It's not random anymore. These are coded transmissions." Sarah rushed to his station, studying the scrolling data. Her eyes widened as she recognized fragments of human language embedded in the noise. Impossible. Nothing human could have survived at these depths for any significant period. "Assemble the deep exploration team," she ordered. "Whatever's down there, we need to find it before they do." Above them, the Meridian ships deployed their second wave. Massive vessels descended into the atmosphere, positioning themselves above Earth's oceans. Their presence sent tsunamis racing toward coastlines, while smaller craft began methodical sweeps of the waters below. They were looking for something. Sarah led her team deeper into the trench aboard the facility's most advanced submersible. The pressure at these depths would crush any normal vessel, but their craft had been designed to withstand the impossible. As they descended, the signal grew stronger. "Energy readings are off the charts," Dr. Reynolds reported, his instruments struggling to process the data. "Whatever's generating this, it's more powerful than our entire facility." The submersible's lights illuminated something that shouldn't exist: geometric patterns in the rock face, too precise to be natural. As they drew closer, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. A massive door, seamlessly integrated into the trench wall, covered in markings that looked suspiciously like early human writing. "That's impossible," Dr. Reynolds whispered. "Carbon dating from surrounding rock suggests this structure is at least 50,000 years old." Before Sarah could respond, the markings began to glow with a soft blue light. The signal peaked, and the massive door slowly began to open, revealing a cavernous space beyond. Inside, rows of sleek vessels waited in perfect preservation, their design more advanced than anything humanity had ever created. Sarah's comm unit crackled with an emergency transmission from the surface. "Captain Chen, Meridian forces have begun systematic sweeps of the ocean floor. They're heading your way. Whatever you found down there, you need to." The transmission cut off in a burst of static. "They're not invading Earth," Sarah realized, staring at the ancient fleet before them. "They're here to prevent us from finding this." The question was, why? As if in response to her presence, the nearest vessel's systems hummed to life, displays illuminating with familiar patterns, human patterns. Humanity's forgotten ancestors had left them a legacy, sleeping in the depths. Now, with their descendants facing extinction, the ancient fleet was awakening. Sarah knew they had minutes at most before the Meridian sweeps detected them. Humanity had already lost the first battle for Earth, But as she approached the waiting vessel, she realized this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The war for humanity's future would be fought with weapons from its past, and the Meridians were about to learn why you should never underestimate humans, past or present. In the darkness of the ocean depths, humanity's last hope waited, and it was time to bring the light back to the surface. Sarah's heart pounded as she approached the ancient vessel. Its surface was smooth, almost fluid in appearance, with no visible seams or joins. As she drew closer, sections of the hull became transparent, revealing an interior that seemed to defy physics itself. "Energy readings are stable," Dr. Reynolds reported, his voice filled with barely contained excitement. "The power source. It's like nothing we've ever seen. No radiation signature, no heat discharge, but it's generating more power than a nuclear reactor." Suddenly, a beam of light shot from the vessel, scanning each member of the team. When it reached Sarah, it lingered, pulsing with a soft blue glow. A voice echoed through their minds, not in words but in pure concepts and images. "It's some kind of neural interface," Sarah gasped, understanding flowing into her consciousness. "These ships, they weren't just built by our ancestors. They were built to be found by us, specifically." The stream of information intensified. She saw flashes of humanity's true history, an advanced civilization that had reached for the stars, only to face a catastrophic choice. The Meridians weren't strangers. They were an ancient enemy, returning to finish what they'd started millennia ago. "Captain," one of her team members called out in alarm. Multiple contacts approaching from above. Meridian scouts. They had minutes at most before they were discovered. Sarah made a decision that would alter the course of human history. "Everyone back to the station except Dr. Reynolds. We're going to power up this ship." As the team scrambled to follow her orders, Sarah and Reynolds approached the vessel's entrance. The hull simply parted before them, creating a seamless doorway. Inside, the bridge was both alien and strangely familiar, as if designed by humans who had evolved along a different technological path. "The neural interface is getting stronger," Sarah noted, settling into what appeared to be the command station. "It's showing me how to operate the systems. But there's something else. A warning." Reynolds, already examining a complex display of holographic symbols, looked up sharply. "What kind of warning?" "The Meridians. They're not just here to stop us from finding the fleet. They're afraid of what we might remember." Sarah's eyes widened as more information flooded her mind. Our ancestors, they didn't just fight the Meridians. They nearly won. The ship's systems continued to power up, each activation revealing new capabilities that defied modern physics. Gravitic drives, quantum shields, weapons that could reshape matter itself, technology that humanity had once mastered and then chosen to forget. Multiple Meridian vessels entering scanning range, Reynolds reported, somehow understanding the alien displays. "They're sweeping the trench systematically. ETA 3 minutes. Sarah's fingers danced over controls that responded to thought as much as touch. The ancient vessel hummed with power, systems that had slept for 50 millennia awakening to defend Earth once more. But as the ship's database unfurled in her mind, she realized they faced a terrible choice. "The fleet's weapons systems," she breathed. "They're powerful enough to destroy planets. Our ancestors, they didn't hide this technology to protect it from the Meridians. They hid it to protect the galaxy from themselves." A massive tremor shook the cavern as Meridian depth charges began to penetrate the upper layers of the trench. They were out of time. "Better in our hands than theirs," Reynolds said grimly, understanding the implications. "At least we know the cost of using such power." Sarah nodded, her resolve hardening. Humanity had grown since its ancient days. They could learn from the past without repeating its mistakes. The ship responded to her determination, its systems fully activating at last. "Multiple Meridian signatures directly above," Reynolds warned. "They're preparing tow." His words cut off as Sarah engaged the ship's drive. The ancient vessel shot upward through the water, its advanced shields parting the ocean like tissue paper. On their sensors, they could see the Meridian scouts turning to track their ascent, energy weapons charging. They recognized the ship design, Sarah noted, reading the tactical displays. They're signaling for reinforcements. Reynolds, I need you to handle weapons. The interface should guide you. As they burst from the ocean's surface into open air, Sarah felt a surge of fierce joy. The Meridians had expected to find a primitive species, easy to conquer or destroy. Instead, they'd awakened humanity's sleeping legacy. The first Meridian scout opened fire, energy beams lancing toward them. The ancient shields absorbed the attack without strain, and Reynolds responded with a precisely targeted burst of quantum fire. The scout ship disintegrated instantly, its advanced defenses meaning nothing against weapons designed to counter them. But more Meridian vessels were already descending from orbit, and Sarah could sense the growing alarm in their communications. They feared what humanity might remember, what powers they might reclaim. They were right to be afraid. Deep below, the rest of the ancient fleet stirred, responding to the activation of the first ship. A signal began broadcasting from their vessel, reaching across Earth's oceans to awaken other hidden facilities, other dormant vessels. Humanity had forgotten its power once, choosing peace over devastating war. But now, with extinction looming, it was time to remember. The real question was, could they wield such power wisely this time? As Sarah guided their ship into evasive maneuvers against the gathering Meridian force, she made a silent vow. They would not repeat the mistakes of the past. This time, humanity would find a better way. The war for Earth's future was about to begin. And this time, humanity wasn't starting from scratch. They were reclaiming their legacy. The skies above the Pacific burned as Sarah's ancient vessel danced through Meridian formations, its quantum weapons cutting through their defenses like they weren't even there. But for every enemy ship they destroyed, 3 more took its place. The Meridians were committing their full invasion force to stopping them. Multiple signals activating worldwide. Reynolds called out, monitoring the global sensor network. The Antarctic facility is online. Mediterranean base responding. 7 more locations lighting up across the Pacific Rim. Sarah allowed herself a tight smile. Their ship's awakening signal was doing its work, triggering other hidden facilities. But they needed time to get their crews in place, time to awaken and master their vessels. Incoming transmission, Reynolds announced. It's Admiral Chen. Sarah's breath caught. Her father was alive. Put him through. Sarah, his voice was strained but steady. I'm at Pearl Harbor with what's left of the Pacific Fleet. We're seeing the energy signatures from your vessel. Tell me you have good news. Better than good, Sarah responded, executing a tight maneuver that left 2 Meridian pursuers shooting each other. We found our inheritance, Admiral. But we need to protect the awakening facilities. Each one houses dozens of ships like this one. There was a pause as her father processed this. Understood. I'm deploying all remaining forces to those coordinates. We'll buy you whatever time we can. Chen out. Sarah wanted to say more, to warn him to be careful, to tell him she loved him. But there was no time. The Meridians were adapting their tactics, trying to herd them away from the other facilities. They're targeting the Antarctic base, Reynolds reported grimly. Massive energy buildup in their orbital platforms. They're going to glass the entire continent. Not if we can help it, Sarah growled. The neural interface responded to her determination, ship systems pushing beyond their normal limits. Contact the Mariana station. Tell them to begin awakening the rest of our fleet. We're heading south. The ancient vessel's drive engaged, crossing thousands of miles in minutes. The sensation was strange. Not the brutal acceleration of conventional engines, but a smooth transition that seemed to bend space itself around them. They emerged above Antarctica, just as the Meridian platforms began their bombardment. Massive energy beams lanced down from orbit, powerful enough to vaporize mountains. Sarah engaged their shields at maximum power, positioning their ship directly in the path of the attack. The impact was tremendous. Warning signals flared across their displays as the shields strained to absorb the devastating energy. But they held. Shields at 60%, Reynolds reported, incredulous. A blast that powerful, and we're still flying. These ships, they're incredible. Below them, the ice was already cracking, revealing glimpses of the massive facility hidden beneath. More ancient vessels were powering up, their crews, a mixture of military personnel and civilian scientists who had been working at the base, finding their way to their bridges. "This is Captain Chen to all awakening vessels," Sarah broadcast. "I know you're seeing combat data through your neural interfaces. Trust them. Trust yourselves. These ships are part of our heritage. They were built to respond to human minds." One by one, the Antarctic vessels began to rise, their crews quickly adapting to the neural control systems. Each ship was different. Some built for speed, others for heavy combat, still others designed for support roles. Together, they formed a coherent battle group. Just in time. The Meridian fleet was descending en masse, thousands of ships darkening the sky. Their technology might be inferior to the ancient vessels, but they still held overwhelming numerical superiority. "All ships, form up on me," Sarah commanded, feeling the surge of pride as the newly awakened vessels moved into formation. "Remember your training. Remember who you are. We are humanity's defenders, and we will not fall." The battle that followed was like nothing in Earth's history. Ancient human vessels, each worth a dozen Meridian ships, carved through enemy formations with devastating precision. But the Meridians pressed their attack with desperate fury, seeming almost panic-stricken at the sight of the awakened fleet. "Sarah," Reynolds called out, his voice tight. "I'm detecting quantum communications between Meridian ships. They're calling for reinforcements. A lot of reinforcements." Sarah nodded grimly. She'd expected this. The neural interface was showing her more of humanity's history now, the real reason the Meridians feared these ships so much. The ancient war had nearly shattered their empire, and they'd spent millennia ensuring it could never happen again. Until now. "Message from the Mariana facility," Reynolds reported. "2 more battle groups are ready. Mediterranean base reports their fleet is awakening. We're starting to even the odds." But Sarah knew it wasn't that simple. The Meridians would commit everything they had to stopping Earth's reawakening. The real battle hadn't even begun. "All ships," she broadcast, watching as more ancient vessels rose to join them. "Take defensive positions around the facilities. We hold here, no matter the cost. Earth's future depends on it." As if in response to her words, the quantum sensors lit up with thousands of new contacts. The Meridian reinforcements had arrived. The rising tide of humanity's reawakening was about to meet the full fury of an interstellar empire, and the fate of both civilizations hung in the balance. The space above Earth turned into a graveyard of ships. The Meridian reinforcements attacked with a ferocity that bordered on desperation, sacrificing entire squadrons just to damage a single ancient vessel. Sarah's battle group held their defensive lines, but the cost was mounting. "Mediterranean fleet is under heavy assault," Reynolds reported, his hands dancing across the tactical displays. "They've lost 3 ships. Pacific group reporting similar pressure. The Meridians, they're not trying to win anymore. They're trying to make sure we lose." Sarah understood. The neural interface had shown her more of the truth. The Meridians weren't just fighting to prevent Earth's reawakening. They were fighting to preserve their entire way of life. The existence of these ancient ships threatened everything they had built. A massive explosion lit up the Antarctic sky as one of their vessels finally fell, its quantum core detonating with enough force to vaporize the Meridian ships that had killed it. The loss hit Sarah like a physical blow. She had felt the crew's determination through their shared neural network until the very end. "Incoming transmission," Reynolds announced suddenly. It's being broadcast on all frequencies, in every human language." A holographic figure materialized on their bridge, tall, elegant with crystalline features that seemed to shift and flow. A Meridian commander. Humans of Earth. The alien spoke, its voice carrying notes of both authority and fear. You do not understand what you are awakening. The technology you have found was sealed away for a reason. Surrender now, and we will show mercy. Continue to resist, and we will be forced to sterilize your world. Sarah opened a channel to respond, but another voice beat her to it. This is Admiral Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Her father's voice rang with steel. We understand exactly what we're awakening. We're awakening our destiny, and we will never surrender. The Meridian commander's features hardened. Then you leave us no choice. The protocol must be maintained. All ships, execute final directive. The Meridian fleet began to move with new purpose, forming complex geometric patterns in orbit. Energy began to build between their vessels, linking them into a vast network. They're creating some kind of resonance field, Reynolds warned, studying the readings. If they complete this formation, they're trying to trigger a quantum cascade, Sarah realized, the knowledge flowing from the neural interface. They'll destroy themselves to wipe us out. But even as despair threatened to overwhelm her, Sarah felt something else through the neural network. Determination. Hope. The remaining ancient vessels were sharing knowledge, combining their understanding. They had faced this threat before. All ships, Sarah broadcast, her voice steady. Execute Protocol Omega. Just like in the interface memories. We end this now. The ancient vessels moved as one, their quantum cores pulsing in harmony. Space itself seemed to warp around them as they tapped into powers that modern humanity had forgotten. A shimmering field of energy expanded from their formation, meeting the Meridian resonance pattern head-on. For a moment, reality seemed to hold its breath. Then the Meridian network shattered, their ships thrown into disarray as their desperate gambit failed. But the ancient vessels weren't finished. The energy they had gathered coalesced into a focused beam that lanced out into space, far beyond Earth's orbit. Target struck, Reynolds reported, awe in his voice. It's their command hub. Hidden behind Mars. The entire Meridian command structure. Surrendering, Sarah finished, watching as the enemy fleet went silent, their coordination lost. They'd never expected us to remember that technique. Their entire strategy relied on us staying primitive, controllable. Through the neural interface, Sarah accessed more of the hidden history. The Meridians hadn't feared humanity's ancient weapons. They had feared humanity's potential. Each ancient vessel was more than just a ship. It was a key to unlocking human capabilities that the Meridians had spent millennia trying to suppress. Message from Admiral Chen, Reynolds said. The Meridian fleet is standing down worldwide. Ground forces are retreating to their ships. We've won. But Sarah knew it wasn't that simple. She could feel it through the neural interface, could see it in the tactical data. This wasn't just a military victory. They had shattered a fundamental doctrine of the Meridian Empire, one that had kept the galaxy in careful balance for thousands of years. No, she said quietly. We haven't won yet. This was just the beginning. The Meridians will be back, and next time they'll bring their full empire. We need to be ready. She opened a channel to all Earth forces, both conventional and awakened. This is Captain Chen. Today we remembered who we are, what we can become. But our real challenge lies ahead. We need to master this technology, understand our history, and forge a new path forward. The galaxy is about to change, and humanity will help shape that change. As she spoke, more ancient facilities were awakening worldwide. Each one contained not just ships, but libraries of knowledge, technologies that could transform human civilization overnight. The neural interface showed her glimpses of possibilities. Cities in the sky, doorways between stars. Human consciousness expanded beyond its current limits. The Meridians had feared this moment for millennia. Now they would have to face it. Humanity was awake, and they would never sleep again. 3 days after the battle, Sarah stood on the observation deck of the Antarctic facility, watching as ancient vessels rose from hidden bases around the world. Each emergence revealed new wonders, new possibilities. But with them came hard choices. "The Meridian diplomats are ready," Reynolds said, approaching quietly. He'd barely left her side since the battle, helping coordinate the awakening of new ships and crews. "They're not what I expected." Sarah nodded. The Meridian delegation had arrived not with threats, but with a desperate plea. Their empire wasn't just facing a military defeat, they were facing the collapse of their entire civilization. "Captain Chen," a familiar voice called. She turned to see her father, Admiral Chen, walking toward them with a Meridian representative. The alien's crystalline features flowed with anxiety, but there was also something else. Hope. "I am Speaker Verix," the Meridian said, bowing slightly. We have been wrong about so much. For millennia, we believed we were protecting the galaxy by suppressing advanced technology, by keeping species like humanity from reaching their full potential. But you were really protecting yourselves," Sarah finished. The neural interface had shown her the truth. "Your entire empire is built on controlled advancement, carefully measured progress. The existence of humanity's legacy threatens that control." Verix nodded slowly. "Our ancestors fought yours to a standstill, then spent thousands of years ensuring no species could ever threaten us again. But in doing so, we stagnated. Now our stars are dying, our world's failing, and we lack the innovation to save ourselves." Through the facility's windows, Sarah could see teams of human scientists working alongside Meridian engineers, studying the ancient technology together. Already they were making breakthroughs, combining the wisdom of the past with the insights of the present. "We don't want another war," Admiral Chen said firmly. "But we won't surrender our legacy again. Humanity is awake now, and we're going to take our place among the stars." "Perhaps," Verix suggested carefully, "there is a third path, one that benefits both our peoples and others," Sarah added. "I've seen enough through the neural interface to know we're not alone in this galaxy. There are other species out there, some possibly on the brink of their own awakening. We need to be ready to help them, not suppress them." Verix's features rippled with emotion. "You would share this power, even after experiencing its potential for destruction." "Especially because of that," Sarah replied. "The greatest lesson our ancestors left us wasn't about technology or power. It was about choice. They chose to hide this legacy not out of fear, but out of wisdom. They'd waited until we were ready to use it responsibly." She turned to face the group, her expression determined. "Now it's our turn to make choices. We can use this technology to build walls between species or bridges. We can hoard knowledge or share it. We can fear the future or shape it." Through the neural interface, Sarah could feel the awakened ships humming with power and purpose. But it wasn't the destructive purpose the Meridians had feared. It was the power of possibility, of potential waiting to be unleashed. "The stars are calling," she said softly. "And this time, humanity won't go alone. We'll go together, with anyone willing to face the future with hope instead of fear." Above them, the ancient vessels danced in formation, their quantum cores pulsing in harmony. But now they were joined by Meridian ships, the two technologies beginning to work in concert. It was a sight her ancestors could only have dreamed of. Former enemies united in purpose, reaching for the stars together. The legacy they had left behind wasn't just technology or weapons. It was the chance to forge a new path, to learn from the past without being bound by it. Humanity had awakened not to wage war, but to fulfill their destiny among the stars. And this was just the beginning.